Welcome everybody to Hate Plus, the expansion, if you will, of Analogue A Hate Story. I have not played this yet, so let's get started. Hey, I know you hate this kind of shit and prefer to stay anonymous, but the guys you did that last job for, the Seiju Colony Historical Society, are pestering me for some details about you for a press release. You can fill in whatever, I don't really care. Just give them something so they'll get off my case, okay? Question 1. Which AI did you get the documents from? Okay. How would you describe her attitude to you? Which pronouns should we use for you? If you had to choose, which year would you rather live in? Oh gee, I was born in that year, so let's go with that one. Okay, great, that's all of it. I'll send it off to them now. You're still, what, 3 days or so away from Earth? I'll talk to you then. Dispatch control out. Oh no! Oh no, oh no, oh no. Jeez, I'm so sorry. If you're saying something to me, I can't hear you at all. Jeez, I'll explain. Well, I tried installing that advanced dictionary you got for me, and, well, I couldn't get it to work. Even the builds that were supposed to be fine just kept giving me an architecture not supported error. I don't know why. So I tried to recompile my language processing function so I could support it, but I don't really understand how AIs work very well, I guess. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, I guess I sort of just broke it more. Like I said before, if you're saying anything, I can't hear you, and every time I try to run an English to Korean translation, it just comes out as nonsense. For example, if I try to translate your ship's name from English, I get... crap. Which I can't really understand. It's just like before, when I was back on the Mogungwa, and I couldn't parse what you were saying. Sorry, are you mad at me? Yes, I'm mad. It doesn't matter. I'm just sorry too. Thanks, I'm glad you understand. We'll be able to get it fixed once we get to Earth, right? Right? I don't know. Oh, very well. I sure hope so. Well, I waited over 600 years to meet you, didn't I? 3 days, that's nothing. Anyway, there's something else you should know. While I was looking through my code, trying to debug my damage, I found a big block of data that I thought was garbage. It's not garbage, though, it's data. For some reason, it seems to be embedded in my source. I'm not really sure why. It's not part of my memories, it's in the actual machine code for some reason. The important thing is, though, I think it's log files from Mongongwa. They have date stamps on them, and they seem to be from before the year 0. Well, I can't actually read them without extracting them, but that's what the index says. It's really exciting. What happened in year 0 that made everyone forget? It was always the big mystery to me. Maybe these will explain. Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe we can't communicate, but we could still go through those together. What do you think, Miss Investigator? Can I be your sidekick again? Of course. Yay, that's wonderful. Let's investigate them together. Let me explain how this will work then. I'm afraid I can't just extract all of them at once. I can explain if you want, but it's kind of boring. Explain anyway. Very well. I don't really understand this myself very well, so I'm sorry if I get some details wrong, but basically, the core AI code is designed to make it really, really difficult for AIs to make copies of themselves. So if I just copied all that log data out, the recompiled script wouldn't work at all since it would detect the duplicated code. Which means I'll have to copy them out, delete the parts that are actually in my code base, then recompile myself. But I don't want to delete more than a few at a time because I'm scared that I might make a mistake. So I'm going to be super careful, no more than 6 files at a time, and my script's going to triple check that I'm not deleting something important by accident. It'll be way slower and probably take up a lot of power because the virtual machine you're running me in is pretty insufficient, inefficient. Well, better to be safe, right? Does that all make sense? Great. I think I used up most of today's power by running debugging, though. So we'll only be able to do a little bit, but there's always tomorrow. Anyway, I'll let you decide which log files you want to extract first. Then we can read them together. Hey, could you click on me, please? Sure. Yay, it works! Right, very well. It's a little bit like on the Mongungwa. I'll use that as an indicator that I want your attention. Well, that's all. Just click on me if you want me to talk in the future. Anyway, let's get back to investigating together. Hard shell inquiry. Long robotics. So you're interested in purchasing a hard shell frame for an AI construct. We've evaluated your questionnaire, and we've attached a pamphlet for a model which we think will suit your needs. Marigold 89 hard shell frame. Marigold is our mainstay animation-inspired model for a classic feminine presentation for the happening construct that requires both close human integration and elegance in all things. In a marigold frame, you can start the day with a cup of tea. Coffee would be too vulgar. In the morning, feel the breeze in your hair. In the afternoon, go out dancing. Ballroom, of course. The night away, then finish with the graceful peck on the cheek of your dancing partner. Full sensory feedback. We guarantee each marigold frame's visual, audio, tactical, olfactory has been triple tested thoroughly to register at least 95% of standard human resolution. Of course, marigold is compatible with all hard-shell sensory systems, so whether it's for stargazing nebulae with your sweetheart or appreciating strawberry crepes more thoroughly, we have you covered. The face that launched 1,000 starships. As with all hardshell models, we offer fully customizable facial designs and 12 months of free hairstyle reconfigurations with purchase. The Marigold's facial range goes above and beyond expectations. With its animation-inspired exaggerated features, it actually boasts an even wider range of expressions than a typical human. From the subtlety of a coy smile to heartfelt shouting to the slight twinkle in your eyes of happiness. In Marigold, we promise you'll be able to inspire that uki uki waku waku feeling in anyone. Really upgraded. Of course, what makes the 89 model of Marigold truly special are the additional features. The state-of-the-art Dream Machine GPU allows for perfect recollection of your most treasured memories. The patented Real Tears system allows for a revolutionary wide range of expression of despair. Plus, the all-new Wonder Arm functionality will allow you to easily grab faraway teacups without even unruffling your skirt. Truly, the Marigold 89 hardshell frame is the model for the happening feminine animation-loving AI construct. Please contact us with further purchase details. All our models are highly affordable. We're looking forward to hearing back from you on Earth. Okay. Warning, ship is currently running in emergency power mode. Non-essential computer use quota in effect. My apologies for the trouble, Yune. Okay. I can't talk to her? I have to disable active AI? Oh. Emergency diagnostic. What does that do? Well, that's good. Let's try and keep all the blocks together, I guess. Are there more M1s? Yes. That's a newt. Jesus. Mute. From my internal logs, 7:20 p.m. in the Heyo household during our daily meeting. How are you, Miss Heyo? I asked Seo Young. This is the first time we've read about this person. Click their name again in another log file, and I'll remind you about them. I asked Seo Young after showing up on her living room computer screen. Her very first words are, "Good evening, counselor." Or after "Good evening, counselor," "I'm having a major crisis with my husband." It didn't seem like she was very serious, which is good since I kind of liked him. That's mute? Go on, I said. You've heard of those fashionable paper lanterns, right? The ones that are genuine paper? They're sold in the Upper Court Plaza. Not really, no. Well, they lit through this gorgeous red light. I interrupted her with a, "Yes, I know what paper lanterns are like, so what's the crisis?" "Don't you think they'd be perfect for the living room? My husband objects because they cost about 50,000 silver per. He thinks it's too extravagant," she said, whatever that means. Does that man have any idea how much money you make?" I asked. She replied, "I don't think so. You know how men are." Of course, Mr. Kim is the kind to get jealous of his wife making more money than him, which is pretty silly. He's merely a teacher, and Seo Young is the Counselor of Security's top lieutenant. He needs to get over it. I said pretty much that to her. Counselor of Security. Oh, that's her again. I don't know. I think this extremely minor dispute about our interior decorating may be fatal to our relationship. If we get a divorce, can I sleep in your home? I was about to say something, but I got cut off by one of her young maids suddenly popping up to deliver tea. "Thanks, Miss Lim," said Seo Young, dismissing her. Miss Lim, she's one of Seo Young's maids. Damn it, how do I pronounce this crap again? "You know you already sleep in my room, right?" I responded once the girl left. "With all due respect, counselor," she said, "this is my home. How do you figure that?" I told her, "Only because I bought it for your great-great-great-grandfather. I don't think you would have liked the old place. I think you have closets in this place bigger than it was. Not much room for those servants either. Oh wow, leave it to mute. How old, I wonder? To remember a debt for," she paused, counting on her fingers. "Centuries? That would be 200 years ago." "It's not that long," I told her. She was amused. "You're awfully old," she said. I replied, "But you're still just a young girl." "Wait, hey, is that a gray hair I see?" She protested in disbelief, but I didn't even have to make it up. She totally is starting to go gray. I mean, she's like 38, so it's hardly strange. "No way," she said, getting bothered. "Maybe I'll stay with my husband after all. You're mean." "Because he's too nice to make fun of your childish response to aging?" I asked. "No," she said, "because he's got terrible eyesight." Okay, I said, amused. "Let's get back to business, all right?" She nodded, turning serious. "What's the first order, then?" "Well, want to crush a rebellion?" I asked. She got excited again. "Do I ever? Can we actually do that?" she asked, but with a smile on her face at the thought of it. "These democracy agitators have been causing no end of stress for the past, 2 years? But they're the cause of this gray hair." Scary. She paused, taking a sip of her tea. "Can we destroy them? Please, please?" "Well, okay, I've got an idea, and I think I can get Chief Counselor Smith and Counselor Yang on board pretty easily. Let's call it, how about Operation Get Back at the Idiots for giving the young lady Chief Security Office Heyo gray hair prematurely," I said. It was a joke, but we both knew full well that the stakes here were pretty high. This rebellion really has been starting to get dangerous. "Oh yeah," she said with a happy smile. "This is the nicest gift you could have ever given me, Mute. Let's crush your rebellion." That's Mute, huh? Counselor Mute has once again tried my patience by requesting a meeting with me and Counselor Yang at a very specific time and location. Smith was the chief counselor of the Mungungwa. Mute, counselor of security. She's usually different than the Mute I knew. She's badass looking. Yang, counselor of justice, was really friendly to Mute. Invocation, then showing up late. The subject was so important, I had no choice to put up with it, but it doesn't mean I appreciate the utter lack of respect. She insisted on meeting in the Upper Plaza restaurant Royal, and her lieutenant, Heo, was the first there. But it took the counselor herself a whole half an hour for her to finally show up on our private room screen. Heo Seo-young was chief security officer, Meet's closest lieutenant. She was married to Professor Kim. Hey, sorry I'm late, she announced in the same perfect, gratingly cheerful voice she's had for the past 50 years. You didn't start eating without me, did you? How irritating. We'd never do that. I guess even then she was a jerk. Should I pour you a glass of wine? Asked Counselor Yang cloyingly, raising the pitcher in her direction. He's always been like this with her, ever since he inherited his council position. I can never tell if he understands the implications of her being an immortal computer program or if he's just an idiot. Probably he's just an idiot. Man, I wish. The sort of shit we've got to deal with, I sure could use it, she said with a slight flip of her golden hair. Then she turned to me. Anyway, Chief Counselor. The old guy. Yeah. Spit. I bet you're wondering why I asked you here, right? You said it was important, I said impatiently. It's about the Committee for Freer Democracy, she said, with appropriate scorn emphasizing their name. This week, Ms. Heo has literally done nothing but shut down their meetings. How many noise violation orders have you issued in the past 7 days? 10? 15, said her lieutenant. It was a dramatic tactic on Mute's part, as if she didn't know exactly how many. My bad, she said. Huh. And every week, the number of private log entries using their keywords doubles. I'm worried we're going to be reaching a critical mass soon. At this rate, I'm worried that the presidential election results are going to lead to, public demonstrations. We can't deal with that. You're the counselor of security. It's your damn job to deal with it, I told her. I'm not interested in excuses. She's not making excuse. Her lieutenant started out of line, but Mute managed to muzzle her. Stand down, Miss Heo, she told her. But then she turned to me with the same rudeness. Now listen here, young man. I was not, asking your approval. We have a problem, and a stern lecture from the chief counselor is not going to help, okay? You can blame me if you want, but that's not going to solve shit. Yang stifled a grin, thinking that I wasn't looking. I had to glare to put him back in line. Sheepishly, he took a large drink of his wine. I'd at least like to know why it is that you can't even do your job effectively, I demanded. At least show some respect. Okay, sure, you got it, sir, she said sarcastically, an impossible expression on her face. But I think, sir, you must understand what my job is. My job isn't to stop public demonstrations. My job is to make sure public demonstrations don't happen in the first place. Do you have any idea what happened the last time we had public demonstrations? She was sarcastic to men? Mute? Wow. She paused. She expected me to actually answer her question, prepared to pounce the moment I got even the slightest detail wrong. I tried to recall, but she said something before I had the chance to say anything. No, of course you don't. It was 4 centuries ago. They led to open armed rebellion. We're talking about outright banditry, okay? This is not tenable. Sir, she said in a high and mighty way. Do you have any idea what martial law is like? Because that's what it took to crush it last time. So, interrupted Yang, you're saying that carrying out your job needs our help. You got it, Counselor, she said. Look, there's no need for hostilities, men. We've got a common problem here, and I think we can sort it out. And really, Chief Counselor, in my opinion, as Counselor of Security, and as the eldest person around by, a millennium, I think we can sort this out, but I wouldn't have asked you here if I didn't need your help. I sighed. She had a point. If I had to clean up what she couldn't, that's her job. And that's her job. What's your plan? You're not going to like it, she said, and I was sure I believed her. First, we let Park back in the presidential race. That's what the agitators have been getting upset about. So it'd take the wind right out of their sails if we take away their main point of contention. Ooh, that's old school clothes. That's madness. He's a radical, and he'd very likely be elected, I said. What's the worst that happens? We just veto the bastard down at every step. The president's powerless against the council again, Yang suggested. No good. I mean, you're right, but that'll just lead to more unrest, she said, shaking her head. What the hell do you propose, then? Just let him dictate his crazy, radical, anti-noble policies, I demanded? Yeah, actually, I think that's the best shot. Hear me out, okay? You resign as chief counselor, and don't give me shit here. I know you've been meaning to for ages. Don't pretend like you'd be upset for that to happen. We put in someone new, younger, as the face of the council. Say it's part of our new direction. The president's going to call for reforms. I don't really get it. And we're going to let him, and our new direction will be going along with him. So we just yield to the madness of democracy then? I said incredulously. She sounded absolutely insane, but of course she had a plan, I'm pained to admit. No, that's crazy, of course not, she said, and then she grinned madly. We pretend to. We're going to be the democracy movement's worst friend. If the president proposes reforms, yeah, we'll nod along. We'll say we'll do it, and then we'll water it down. We'll stall, because, here's the thing. The people, they don't have specific demands. They're dumb. They're okay with compromises. All we have to do is make it look like they've won, and the movement loses all its momentum. And then rebellion crushed, said her lieutenant, smashing her fist into her palm dramatically. Efficiently and subtly. You got it, efficient and subtle. That's how we do it, said Mute. I wasn't sure at first what I thought of her plan. It's insane, for sure. It's incredibly bold. But the more I thought about it over dinner, I thought, maybe that's what we need. In all the time I've known Mute, she might try my patience, but I've never known her intentions to be misplaced. She might be chatty and gossip and disrespectful, but one thing is for sure, she's honest and never manipulative. I think there's a reason why she came to my face and asked me this, when she could have just gone around me with the rest of the council. She might be a bitch at times, but she's still programmed to always act in the best interest of the ship's safety. Always. By the time we'd finished eating, I just about made up my mind. Who do you propose as the new face of the council, then? You? I asked. Haha, oh please, she shook her head dramatically. I said a younger face. Mine's as old as it gets. Only by choice, Jiang said. You can always look as young and beautiful as you'd like. Yeah, sure, I've done that before. And when the fashions change, I'm sure I'll do it again, she started. I think you look fine the way you are, counselor, said Heyo, an odd tone in her voice. It's not the point, okay? She shook her head, looking exacerbated. We need someone who's actually young, who the peasantry will trust as a being willing to accept new ideas. Counselor Lee, perhaps, I suggested? No, definitely not. Too charismatic, too ambitious. The woman has got an agenda, and I do not trust her for a second, she said. She was probably right on reflection. Counselor Gang, who would you suggest? Wait, Ryu? As in Captain and Emperor Ryu? He paused, and a flash of light seemed to go off behind his dim eyes. Counselor Ryu Hyeon-su, he said. Give it to the useless figurehead counselor of captaincy. He'll be so thrilled to actually have a real job. He'd never think to do anything with it. You're right, she said. Of course, I said too after a pause of reflection. He's young, completely malleable, but plausible as a reformer. As the face of impotent rebellion, Ryu would be perfect. That was where we left the discussion for that night. And now I guess it's time to tell my wife that I'll finally be retiring. She'll be thrilled. Oh, dramas. I like those too. New songbook. Aww. Jesus. Man, I had the weirdest fucking night. Despite half the security force being pulled in to guard polling stations on election night, I was off duty at the time, watching dramas with my similarly off-duty father. I'm not a fan, but he is. I find them pretty unbelievable, honestly. Anyway, he got the idea from one of the episodes that now would be the perfect time to send a gift to Chief Security Officer Heyo, my aunt in the main branch, to say thanks for giving us the worst night off. Not that he actually had anything suitable, of course. He spent like 10 minutes scrounging and was only able to find a moderately expensive-looking wine bottle we'd been ignoring for years. He seemed to think it made perfect sense. But whatever, that's dad logic, I guess. So I took it down the corridor to the main branch family's home. My father suggested it'd be a quick 5-minute in and out affair, but it took 5 minutes at the doorbell just to get any sort of response. Whatever, it's not like I had anything better to do. A cute maid answered the door. She looked pretty sheepish. Can I see Chief Heyo briefly, I asked her, if it isn't trouble. Sorry, she's out right now, she said quietly, still halfway behind the door. Is her husband home then? I have something to drop off, I said. He's home, but she suddenly blushed and looked away. Professor Kim is He's busy right now, and not to be interrupted, sorry. I just have something to drop off. It'll only take a minute, I said. Oh, geez, does he mean her husband was doing... I really couldn't interrupt. Busy, she said awkwardly, looking down and scratching her neck. It'd taken me a sec to catch her meaning. And Chief Hay was at the office, I asked? Yes, she said quietly. Sorry, I have to go now, and then she closed the door on me without another word. It was pretty fucking awkward, but whatever. I figured I might as well go try to deliver it to her office. I figured I should at least be able to say that I tried in good faith and all, and man, good thing I did too. Pretty much all the desks in the main security office were empty, although all the lamps were still lit. Apparently, I interrupted her in the middle of a conversation with Constable Mute herself. Yes, mister, can I help you? She said to me. I introduced myself as her brother's son. I probably could have gone better. He wanted to send you a gift, so thanks for working so diligently on the hardest night, or something like that, maybe with more stammering. Yes, she said, it most certainly is the most difficult night. At that point, as if on cue, she got distracted by a message in her earpiece. Oh, don't say that, she replied to the voice in her ear. Are you serious? Are those reliable reports? After a pause, she filled a shot glass with something from her shelf and slammed it back. I will kill them, she said. If you see anyone carrying anything that even looks like political signs, I want them set on fire. Not the signs, the men. Actually, the signs too. The point is, I want them dead, she sounded. Wow, so young is really scary. At that point, I was ready to leave, and just waiting for a pause so I could accuse myself. Okay, belay that, Mute said from the nearby screen, pantomiming an earpiece of her own. Lieutenant, do not murder anyone. Elections with murderers in them and pretty much always turn into disasters. Let's not do that, please. Fine, no murders. Continue to monitor the situation, she said. Then she turned to Mute. For now, I'd recommend some unscheduled maintenance on the rail corridor the fake ballots are spotted on. Already done, the counselor said. Sounds intense. Can we send a team to intercept them? I don't know, said Heo. We're already spread thin as it is. If we just sent a couple uniforms in, to be blunt, I don't think they would take out the protesters efficiently. It would cause a scene. Really? You can't do better than that? I'm disappointed, Mute said. I expected better. Regardless, I don't think they could, she replied directly. Fine, guess we'll have to avoid that. The last thing I want to hear are rumors that the Council of Security is stifling the democratic process. That would really agitate the damn democracy agitators, she said bluntly. I was surprised to hear it from the Councilor herself. I mean, not that I'd ever heard anything from her before, but it sounded surprising. Bunch of idiots. Don't they know that their candidate has already won? What's the point in protesting for Park when he already has the presidency in the bag? Are you sure you don't want to set them on fire? She suggested. Man, knock it off. Park was someone that Mute considered an enemy, but was going to let run for president anyway. Murder is going to lead to rioting. Let's avoid that kind of shit, please, Mute replied, rubbing her forehead. Hey, if you're spread so thin, why is he off duty? She asked, glancing at me. I was way past the point of not wanting to be here. That's a good question. Why are you, officer? My aunt asked, staring. I stammered. I don't have a weapons permit yet, ma'am. Well, it might be prudent to get one, don't you think? She replied. I'm not exactly sure. You know, the saying "buck boy" seems a little awkward. I'm not exactly sure what I said, something like, yes ma'am, I think, but it seemed like the perfect chance to get out of there, so I excused myself and did. I'm not really sure what they were talking about, even now. I didn't hear anything about trouble with protesters, and I've definitely heard no end of family members complaining about Park being elected. So they were right about that. I guess they managed to sort it out somehow. It sure was weird, though, and I guess maybe I should try for that weapons permit? Ugh. It has been a rather successful... rather stressful week, but I feel as though it improved significantly after my daily meeting with Mute, the day of the first council meeting post-election. As of an hour ago, we've got a new chief counselor. Ryu... Damn it, I don't know how to pronounce this. Hyon Su. Smith stepped down, and after a tedious amount of debate, we managed to push Ryu through the vote. It's all official now, she declared. Oh, I know him. That's Emperor Tejo, the first emperor of the new dynasty. He was born Heian Su in the past. He was counselor of captaincy. Congratulations, I told her. I'm truly relieved to hear that worked. Tell me about it, she said with a sigh. There's going to be a joint... Oh, so much scheming. There's going to be a joint broadcast of the new chief counselor and our new populist bastard president tomorrow, officially announcing their joint willingness to pander to any political agenda endorsed by enough idiot voters. I'll make sure the announcement has a security detail that's properly decorated, I offered. Yeah, of course, Meade said, but man, I think we're actually going to be okay here. Looks like we've gotten through the hardest part of it. Now we just have to worry about politics, not agitators and public demonstration. I sure hope so, I said. I mean it, I really think we are okay. I just want to say, Miss Heo? Yes, I replied. Thank you, this could have turned out a lot more violently than it did. Look, you've put in a lot of really hard work in the past week stopping things from escalating further, she told me, staring at me intensely. And I really appreciate it. You're a great lieutenant, Heo Seo Young. Keep up the good work. And she offered me a sincere smile. Oh, I guess it's pretty sweet, with elegance and grace in her cat-like grin. I could hardly help from feeling warm at the sight of such a charming gesture from her, a woman known for being brutally honest. To hear a compliment like that coming from her, I knew she meant it. It felt good to be appreciated for all that, and I felt proud. Ah, thanks, I ended up muttering without a shred of neither elegance nor grace. I am simply happy things have worked out without any violence. Well, good job. We couldn't have done it without you, she said, then she turned serious. Anyway, but it made me feel a lot better about this whole stressful week to have an acknowledgement from her like that, truly.